Today's Fixologist video is sponsored by HIPAA Aftermarket Parts. If you run small engines in your lawn or garden, sooner or later you're going to need parts. And the best place I've found for good, inexpensive aftermarket parts is HIPAAstore.com. They carry compatible parts for all major manufacturers. You name it, they probably got it. And also many of their popular items, including carb kits, come with free U.S. shipping. So next time your equipment needs a little DIY TLC, go to HIPAAstore.com. Okay, this is a 4-cycle Ryobi S430. This was brought to me by a fella who a couple years ago I sold a lawnmower to, and he has been bringing me equipment ever since because he knows I can fix it. Which is pretty funny because this is not something I set out to do for like a regular thing, but I do it for him because he's a member of a church, and this belongs to their church, or one of the church members or something like that. So I make exceptions, but won't start. So I'll show you what it's doing, or to be more accurate, not doing. First of all, let's make sure we've got plenty of fuel, and it looks like we do. Filter looks like it's intact, and it's getting fuel, and there's no fuel leaks or anything like that, and it is actually priming. So there's fuel running up and down through the system when you prime it, so that's all good. But I'll show you what it's doing here. Well, first of all, we have no filter for this. Well, this is the filter, I guess, but it filters from the sides. Probably would have been better if they had a full filter though. Let me just go ahead and show you what it's doing. So let's choke it first.
Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch?
And it's already primed, choked, should be ready to start. Okay, they ran. That's the first time I could get it to run. And it just dies. Okay. So it is running, it is getting fuel. But why is it just dying like that? I don't know. So this takes regular gasoline, being a 4-cycle, and it does take oil. So let's check the oil. Is it dry? Okay, this has a very, very tiny dipstick on it, and there's nothing there. I can't even see any oil. This has no oil. Maybe that's why it's not running. It's just breaking down because it's there's no oil in it. It is turning over. It's free, but it definitely needs oil. I'm gonna see if any oil at all comes out. Even see if I can dump anything out of it at all. No, it's empty of oil. I would say that has something to do with it, wouldn't you? I don't have a clue how much this takes. Probably not very much. Alright, I presume you set it level. Do you set it level? Most likely. And then screw it in. Okay, well, that's got oil now. And I was right, it doesn't take very much, but it probably burns some oil. Being such a small engine, it's probably not very precisely machined. You know, I would be willing to bet it does burn some oil, so you probably have to be on top of the oil consumption. So anyway, let's try it again. I don't think the carb is at fault, but it very well could be too. It could be the diaphragm is just not doing its job. Let's try it again. We'll choke it. Okay, still dies. Try to run it a little bit longer this time. I could go ahead and clean out that filter a little bit. It's got a little bit of junk on it, but it's not too bad. It's kind of a weird filter. I don't know how much I trust that filter right there to really filter the air, but I don't know. I guess they've tested it. So what do I know? It sounds excellent. Being a 4-stroke, you would kind of expect that. Doesn't have that 2-stroke buzz to it. It's more of a purr. Let's try it again with the filter cover on. Let's go to full choke again. Actually, let's see if we can just go with the choke off since we've already had it running. Dies straight away. Okay, let's try that again. Yeah, it's acting like a carb problem. Not exactly what I was hoping would happen there. Some of that gasket sort of tore, but it's not bad. I think I could still use it. Alright. Release the throttle. We'll have to remember which is which. The rear goes to the top of the carb. I mean, the bulb and the metering diaphragm actually seem fine, so I don't know. Let's just clean it. I think that's the way forward here. Just clean this thing and see where that takes us. Let's fill up this thing, this ultrasonic cleaner. I like to do this with hot water and just Dawn dish detergent. if this is necessary, taking both of these screws out, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then this, yeah, it was probably a good idea. Just clean all of that. Then our main jet is down there, so. And while we're at it, we will go ahead. The bulb looks okay. I'm going to try to just keep the bulb. It is yellowed, so it's, you know, it does have a little bit of age to it. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and replace it if I've got a bulb. I'll see if I've got a bulb and a diaphragm, a new diaphragm and a bulb for this. I'm pretty sure I do. Every screw that you see, pretty much, you just remove it from the carb, and then it'll come in several pieces, and you will see a diaphragm under this bowl. There's the bowl, but there's also a diaphragm. Now, if you're trying to reuse that diaphragm, you want to be very, very careful here, because you don't want to rip it. But your best bet really is to replace these every time. Just go ahead and replace it, because they are cheap. I'll put a link down in the description where you can get a whole bunch of these. You can stock up on them. You'll have them year after year. You have to replace them, like, if not every year, then about every second or third year, you're going to have to replace these little metering diaphragms in your small engine equipment. It's just the way it is. It's a wearable part. It's a replaceable part. It's easy to do, and usually 9 times out of 10, this is the issue on just about any small piece of equipment that is not running right due to some kind of fuel delivery issue, which is what I think is going on here. There's going to be another diaphragm underneath this one too, and I think I'm going to remove this screw and go ahead and take all of it apart and get a look at that diaphragm as well. Now this, you got to be really careful. It's because there's a spring under here that will fly out if you're not careful. So I just like to put my finger on it just to keep it from flying away. You don't necessarily have to put any of this stuff in the ultrasonic, but it won't hurt it. But you see all of this that came out of there. That is your needle valve. There's the needle valve right there. You can see it. It's attached to this piece, and it's held in there with this little bar on which it pivots, and then you have a little spring that goes up under there and makes sure that this always springs closed when not being used. So like I said, we could put, I'm actually just going to wash this part. These other two pieces, really no need to wash that spring, I don't think, or that. We'll just put them somewhere where we can find them. Alright, now we should be able to bust this piece loose as well. There we go. Alright, so there's that apart. And like I said, there's another diaphragm here. I am a guitar player by trade, usually. So I actually have fingernails that I can run up under something like this, but you definitely want some kind of little painter's knife or something, especially if you intend to try to salvage this diaphragm, which I think I'm going to do, because I don't know if I have this particular diaphragm or not in stock. It's definitely stuck on there, and it's a little bit hard, so. And there's a spring up under part of it too, so you want to make sure that spring doesn't spring away. It's not exactly liking that. No, I didn't care for that too much. Make sure we don't lose that spring. I'm going to go ahead and scrape all of this. That might be the diaphragm that's at fault here. Well, somebody's restless over in my fish tank, so think I want to go ahead and feed those guys before somebody eats somebody. Alright, I'm just going to drop everything in, diaphragms and all. Diaphragms, like I said, I'm going to try to replace if I've got them. We'll set this to about 10 minutes and then we'll start it up. He was just frightened. He's good. They're all alive. Okay, so round one is done here. Let's see what the results look like. This diaphragm right here is what's really worrying me because I don't have that. I'm gonna put it through for about another 10 minutes until I can do some more stuff. Okay, while that ultrasonic is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna replace this fuel line because it is hard and it's just ready to come out. Alright. And there's a possibility that the filter is clogged too. It's possible. Wait a minute, has this got a nipple on it? Because there's a black, you'll notice that the fuel line up here is this orange color, but then inside is black, so it tells me that there's probably a nipple right here, but I'm gonna get rid of that if there is one. There we go. Now this one should be just the return. Yeah, that rear one is the return. This one I need to get out the other way. It would be nice if I could push it through. There we go. Okay. And yes, indeed, it did have a little nipple here. I don't reuse that. We don't need it. We won't need any of this stuff. We're just going to do it differently. I have another fuel filter. I have another metering diaphragm and another bulb. Yeah, I've got all this stuff and the fuel line. This is all courtesy of our sponsor today, HIPAA Parts. If you are in the need for this kind of stuff to keep around, and I highly suggest that you do, check out HIPAA Parts. I'll put a link in the description where you can check out all they have to offer. But yeah, it's worthwhile to have all of this stuff on hand so you get in a bind and you don't have a bunch of high grass. Okay, so when I'm threading fuel line in, first thing I do is cut this at an extreme angle, like so. Just down to a fine point, like that. And that way it'll feed through a little easier. And as you're feeding it through, you can kind of twist and it goes a lot easier. You can also lube up the hole that it feeds through to make it a little easier as well. But yeah, HIPAA, they sell fuel line in packs, and they give you several different sizes within the same pack, just because it's good to have a little bit of everything on hand. So we need to feed through enough that we can grab a hold of it and bring it out the opening up here. If I can reach it, and I cannot. Once again, metal coat hanger to the rescue. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so now we just flatten this cut and get our filter on, our new one. There we go. Brand new fuel filter. Now we want this to lay at the very bottom, the lowest most point. And usually you also want it to kind of lay up toward the front, because you're going to have it vertical this way, forward more than you're going to have it vertical backwards. Like, you know, right up here in front. That's a good spot for it right there, probably. So we're going to cut this off. We'll try to leave a little bit of extra. Now this one is just a return hose, so all it has to do is just kind of go down in there. And I have another piece of hose here. I'll use this instead of cutting a new piece. So again, cut it at an extreme angle, like that, and it'll feed down inside of here easily. And on the return end, you just need it to basically go through the hole and go through about an inch or so. It doesn't have to go all the way down into the fluid. You want it far enough that it's not easily pulled out, but it doesn't have to be real long. Yeah, I think that's got it right there. So we'll kind of be generous with how much we leave. Cut about right there. Okay, so there's our new fuel line, new fuel filter, and we're about ready to go see if that's done cooking. All this is garbage. Alright, we're going to give everything a rinse to get the soap off of it. I can see down in there a lot did come off. There's a lot of debris in there, so... Now this metering diaphragm, I don't think I need it because I think our new diaphragms are pretty universal and they should fit it, but I am going to set it aside just in case, because in this instance, if I have to order a new diaphragm for this carb, I want to try to give the guy an option to put it back together as best I can with the old one while he waits for the new part to come in, because I don't know if he needs this right away or not. Yeah, I'm really worried about this diaphragm right here. It is somewhat supple, but it's not entirely supple, and it doesn't feel the greatest, I can tell you that. Okay, this is the tough part of reassembly right here. So your spring has to go in first, and then I think I can drop my needle valve in, and then kind of cock this up like so and get it underneath there. Yeah, I think that's a better way, except I have it backwards. I think it'll go better like the correct way. That's a freaking tick. Son of a bitchin' tick right there. Die, motherfucker. Okay. Now push everything down, and we just need that screw. There we go. Okay, now the new diaphragm. And like I said, it should fit. These are fairly universal, and HIPAA sells these. I forget how many you can get at a time. I think they sell them by like 10s and 20s and whatnot. So you can get a whole bunch of them at once, and it's worth doing. All right, so there's that part, and then we got this part with the new. Is this the right side? That's way bigger. Okay, so we're gonna have to use the old. Yeah, we're gonna have to recycle this old one because I don't have the part for it. Alright, so there's this half of the stack complete. And we've just got this diaphragm with this spring. It should go like so. Okay, it's on there and it's all good and tight. Alright, let's set this throttle assembly here. Let's get this throttle. There we go. That's the way it goes because that throttle has pulled down. The rear one goes to the top. And this one goes here. This is the intake. There we go. All right. Now we need our big screws. That's on there. Let's try it again. Need a fuel cap here. Let's see what she does now. If this doesn't cut it, we're probably looking at a new carb. I'll pump it up. Where's it leaking from? It's leaking from somewhere. Leaking fuel. Maybe I didn't tighten these down enough. I can already see I didn't. Yep. Yeah, I didn't tighten the screws down enough. It's leaking fuel out of the between the seams there. I want to also make sure these screws are tight, because if they're not, it'll get. It does not look tight actually. There we go. That's better. Yeah, if everything's not tight, you're going to get lots of air leaks and everything. Okay, let's try it. Full choke. It just needs a new carb. There's no other way around it, I don't think. I could look and see what I've got. I might have a carb that would work, but I don't know. It would have to work with this breather assembly. Let me see what I've got. Yeah, I do have a couple extra parts here, but they're not going to work. They're not what I need. Man, that sure looks like that's it right there. That's it. That's the same carb. That's a piece of the same carb right there. Sure is. Doesn't that go there? Or this way? It does. Okay, this diaphragm's in two parts, but it is in better shape than the other one that we have. It's in perfect shape, in fact. I don't know which part goes where. I would say this probably goes down against that, and then this on top, right? Probably. But that's definitely the same car. And then we've also got an adjustment screw even on this one. Oh shit, we gotta put the bulb on this. We gotta put the bulb on it. all the way in, and then like there's a half, 1, 1.5, 2. We'll start about there, 2. And of course it dies out again. Yay. I'm just going to adjust this idle screw all the way in, and then we'll just back it out to wherever we need it. Oh, and okay. Half, 1, half, 2. Something just happened right there. Man, it sure doesn't like something. It felt weird. It was like it was like the metering diaphragm unstuck or something got unclogged suddenly. I didn't do anything. I didn't even turn anything. I think that screw needs some tape on it, some thread tape, because it's leaking out from around it. Yeah, that needle, well, that ain't gonna work though, is it? All right, guys, so here's the deal. Clearly that new carburetor that I found in my garage and the parts just weren't working. So what I did was I went on hippaparts.com and I ordered this. But look what all it comes with. You get one of these, and you get the whole carb. You can just pop it right on there. You get an extra bulb, so later on when this bulb wears out, and eventually will, you've got an extra. You've also got the extra bulb on your old carb if it still works, so you should probably save that just in case. You know, you get a new gasket. You get a new air filter. You get a new fuel filter, which we already put a new one on there. You also get the fuel line, which we won't need that either. So that's, you know, more parts for a rainy day that we can use. You also they even send you a spark plug. This is like a full, basically tune-up kit for this model. And, you know, whatever model you have of trimmer or blower or whatever small engine that it is, chances are HIPAA probably has a kit like this for your equipment. And it's really in your best interest to go ahead and have something like this on hand. And I'll tell you why. Look at the recent trade problems that we've had. This company, HIPAA, has a U.S. shipping hub. So they bring the stuff in wherever it's made. I think all this stuff here is made in China, but some of it might not be. I don't know. You know, any tariff, you don't have to worry about that. It's shipped from the U.S., so it's all priced in. So $15, you really can't beat it. That's about the same price that these were going for pre-trade war. So I mean, the prices really haven't even gone up that much, if at all. So go to HIPAA Parts and order stuff for your equipment and have it on hand. That's really what I recommend you do. So I'll put a link down in the description. Definitely support them. They're a good sponsor. I really appreciate it. And, you know, they sell good stuff for cheap. Oh, and to those of you who say, well, you should have probably done that in the first place. Yeah, that's probably correct. But at the same time, I was trying to turn this trimmer around for this guy and just get it going with what I had on hand so that he could use it. You know, sometimes you use what you have on hand, and if you've got diaphragms and things like that are pretty universal. You saw me, I tried that first. I tried the universal diaphragms for the carb. One of them is not so universal. The metering diaphragms are pretty universal, the ones that are under the bulb here. But the ones that are on bottom, on most carbs, they're kind of you know, different designs, and this one was kind of a funky weird design that's sort of specific to this particular type of carb. So, oh, and by the way, I got some poison ivy. See my poison ivy I got the other day when I was doing some trimming outside. I got it worse here because I wear a wedding ring, and I guess a piece got stuck under my wedding band and I didn't wash it off in time. So yeah. Okay, this new carb is, the throttle here is on backwards from what the old one was. I'm just going to trim down this fuel line so that it fits, so that it can attach to the bottom instead of the top. Okay, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Let's try it. Not a good sign. Dying right away again. I'll try to put a little bit more fuel in it, but I don't think that's the problem here. Okay. Okay, dives with no throttle. That's not what we need. Okay, well, that ain't good, is it? Can't seem to give it any throttle and keep it running. Yeah. It doesn't like coming down from full throttle. Oh, it was still on half choke. That's why, probably. Yeah, it floods itself out when you try to give it gas too quickly. I wonder what's up with that. I don't know. It's like the air fuel mix is not right, so I'm gonna try to tighten this stuff down a little bit. Maybe it's a bit loose from shipping or from sitting around. Make sure we're not getting any air leaks. Tighten all these screws here. Okay. Probably these need to be tightened also. So I've got to actually loosen the idle screw all the way out to get this screw tightened. There we go. Try this again. That's too far on the idle. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. Like I said, normally I would take this thing around the yard and try it out and make sure it's cutting okay, but we don't have a cutter head, so can't do that. But yeah, I mean, if you have the time, you should probably just order the whole carb, because it's going to save you time in the long run. You can keep those gasket sets and those metering diaphragm sets on hand to change those out when these things inevitably fail on you. And you know, they're cheap, it's easy. Go check out HIPAA Parts at the link in the description and at a pinned comment. Who knows how much longer these carbs replacement stuff like this for these small engines will remain cheap. The thing is, as these companies like Ryobi start to move toward electric stuff, maintaining this stuff is gonna probably become just more expensive, because the economies of scale aren't gonna be what they used to be. So definitely stock up on your parts if you want to keep this stuff running and not have to be basically a slave to batteries for the rest of your life. So that'll do it for this one, and for now, we'll see y'all later. This guy right here is in the process of coming out. Check him. So he's split open, but he's not out yet. And then this guy, he hasn't even split open yet.